Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wallet Wisdom, a podcast presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union. If you're new to the podcast or have been listening for a while, Wallet Wisdom is designed around breaking down the ins and outs of financial aspects, as well as help bring answers to some of banking's more confusing and complex questions. I'm one of your hosts, Brett, sharing the mic, my super fun and multi-talented co-host, Lo.
Hey, how
How's
are
it
you?
going?
It's beautiful.
Awesome. I know. It's just it's another month, April.
It is. It's crazy.
It is.
It's going fast, but I'm okay with it.
Unbelievable.
Get me to summer, man.
I know. I'm ready for it. I'm definitely ready for it. Running the board with us as well, the smooth operator, producer Matt.
Hey, Brett.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
You know, I always, for listeners, try and change up how I'm going to introduce everybody. So if you go back and listen to different episodes, you might find either I am reusing them a lot or I've got some really unique ones. So every time, every podcast, smooth operator.
Yep, we got to change it up every once in a while.
And it's fun for me because I never know how everyone's going to react to it. So, and it's fun for you because you'll never know.
I just never know what you're going to say.
Exactly.
Buckle up, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, as always, we have a great episode for you guys today. Joining us, the very knowledgeable and extremely down-to-earth Ken Jansen. Welcome to the show. Ken is going to be helping break down and help us better understand what options we have when it comes to auto insurance and what is kind of the right amount of coverage. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited. And having had a chance to work with you in the past already on some other projects, truly, you are the most down-to-earth guy I've had a chance to meet. So,
oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
You make it easy. And, you know, honestly, we've had chances to talk a little bit about insurance in your area as well. And you make it so easy to understand, which is not always something that happens. So,
well, I'll tell you, it's like a foreign language if you're not doing it every day. Right?
Very true. It's a very elusive topic.
Yes.
It's hard to...
It is.
And I found after 31 years of this that not many people like insurance.
No, you hate paying for it, but it's nice
do.
to use. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're glad when it's there, for sure, and it is. So, well, Ken, we would love to learn a little bit more about you. If you want to maybe share a little bit about where you, kind of get started here with the credit union, how, our LMIA, Lake Michigan Insurance Agency, kind of continues to help support our members.
Sure. Well, I have been with the agency now as president of the Lake Michigan Insurance Agency for 28 years. Hard to believe it. I've been here this long. Been in the business 31 years. So right in the same location, 5550 Cascade Road.
So you can find them there, folks.
Find
you
us
just
there,
drive
right.
on in there and say, I need
Yeah,
Ken.
right by the golf course.
Of
right?
course. A good lunchtime
That's
break, right?
That's right. Walk out the back door and we're on the 9th tee. So
I
whoever
love
wants
it.
to golf, let me know.
Perfect.
Well, I am a big fan of golf, and I would love to get on the course soon. In fact, I started a golf league with my dad in about a month.
Nice.
See, if you want to laugh really hard, take me golfing. That's about all I'm good
say.
for there. I can drive the cart. I'm happy to do that.
Hey,
too.
that's good too.
Isn't it interesting? Golf, you look at it and it looks so simple, doesn't it?
Yes.
Until you try it.
No.
And talk about something that is very humbling.
There is plenty
You know.
of things to go wrong, I found out.
You're not
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Plenty of
and,
things.
And, yes, you're in a competition against the other person you're playing, but really golf is more just about a competition against yourself.
You're not kidding. And you think about it, you hit all these bad shots, and the one thing that brings you back is that one nice shot, right?
Yeah.
It feels good. And you're
That's
going,
all you remember,
I
right?
can't wait to do this again.
That's
it's
right.
It's
It's like on the 17th hole, you finally nail it down the fairway, and you're like,
oh, yeah.
that was it.
That was
yeah,
all
exactly.
you needed.
I'm coming back tomorrow.
You go back home. How was your day at golf? It was awesome. I hit this great long shot,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
nailed it, made par. Oh, that's great. What was your score? Well, it was about 10 over, but that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. No.
10 over, that's humorous. It'd be like 100 over for me.
Well, the beauty about golf too, and I know we don't want to get too sidetracked on golf, but you think about it, it's handicapped, right? So if you could be a 40 handicap and I could be a 5 or 6, and you play to a 38 and I play to a 7, and you beat me.
It's nice to be able to
Isn't
play
that nice?
together no
Yeah.
matter what level you're
Yeah,
at. I didn't know
absolutely.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So perfect. Well, Ken, I am really excited to kind of dive into, just us learning a little bit more about auto insurance and also what options are out there. I think the biggest question that tends to come up is how much coverage do I need, or what should I really be looking at when I'm even maybe shopping for auto insurance? Or, hey, you know, I've always got auto insurance, because in a lot of states you kind of either need auto insurance or you need some form of that to drive. And it's like, okay, I just get it, and then it sits there and I just keep renewing it. Well, what should I look at? Maybe I need to take a peek at what I've got going right now.
Sure. You know, a lot of people think of auto insurance, and homeowners for that matter, as a commodity versus really, you know, something that you when I think about it, I think it's something that really should be sat down with your agent and go through the coverages, because at the end of the day, what is full coverage? What's PLPD?
Right.
And is full coverage the same for everybody? And
yeah,
it really isn't, because you have to look at bodily injury limits. You got to get comfortable with deductibles. You know, what deductible should you have? What deductible shouldn't you have?
Right.
You know, do you need uninsured motorists, and why? Or do you need underinsured motorists? What if somebody hits you that doesn't have enough insurance? Right. So there's all these little coverages in there that, without just a simple phone call to your agent probably can bring some clarity. Right?
I bet.
That kind of stuff. So
well, and just thinking through, I mean, obviously with Lake Michigan Credit Union, we're in Michigan, right? We're the largest credit union in Michigan, but we also now have branches in Florida. And so each state can sometimes have some variances.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, it's always important to probably, like you said, get in touch with somebody that can really help answer those questions. And, you know, some things vary, but there's always those consistencies of the same thing. How much coverage should I have, and what should I get, and what happens in this scenario? So,
sure. Well, you know, at the end of the day too, if you think about it, if you don't, you're planning. So many people, we've all heard the term, they don't fail to plan, or they don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And if you talk to, when you see it actually typically with the older generation that are getting close to retirement, what younger people don't realize, or people middle-aged, is your financial advisor actually, and we do it here at Lake Michigan with financial people, they look at your amount of risk, you know, right? For investments, that kind of thing. But they're also looking at your personal lines insurance, your home and auto. What happens if something happens that could impact you from a claim standpoint? How will that affect your net worth?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So, what are you at risk for? What are you going to lose?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot to that. There's a health insurance side. You know, if you're involved in an accident, up until last July with auto reform in Michigan, it was unlimited medical expense, right?
Sure.
So what if, and you hate to think about it, but it does happen. What if you're someone who gets, you know, we hear about it all the time. You may know somebody, young child gets injured in a car accident. They may need lifelong care.
Sure.
So that could be millions of dollars, right? They don't pass away, but they're injured enough where they need lifelong care. And now with people living longer, they might be living to 80 or 90 years old or more.
Yeah.
So those are things that you got to go, geez, why did I just pick the $250,000 limit? Because it saved me $40 every 6 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People don't think about that. And, you know,
but we love to save,
yes,
Ken.
You're thinking,
That's a good point. That is so true.
And the idea being, if you knew after the fact, geez, for $40 more a month, or whatever the case, might be 60, whatever that number is, right? And you talk to your agent about it, you would miss McDonald's a couple times or skip whatever, right?
Right.
And you would protect yourself.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that, because unfortunately, all of us have the tendency it's never going to happen to us.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right? We're invincible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
And I think for a lot of people, it's tough to think about. It's easy to think about what's happening now, but to think about the what if,
right?
You know, and obviously not to the point of like paranoia and over anxiety or anything like that, but again, it's better to be proactive than reactive, and then would be wishing, man, I just, I wish I would have had that a little bit more, or would have learned more about it.
Sure,
you know?
Sure. Same thing with deductibles. You know, people say, you know, well, what kind of deductible should I have? And the easiest way to look at that kind of thing when it comes to deductibles is, would you even buy insurance? You know, I do this with people, and I have our teams do it too. When it comes to health insurance, you hear that all the time. What deductible should I have?
Yeah.
Well, if you knew you were only going to have $5,000 of bills, that was the max you could take, would you even buy insurance? Some people would say yes. Some people might say no, I'd put it on a credit card, or I have the money in the bank, whatever. I'm buying it, add a couple zeros to that 5,000, so it's 50 or 500. That's what I'm buying it for. Well, if that's the case, then take the higher deductible, keep the money in your pocket, not the insurance companies,
Sure.
knowing that you have the protection you need. You wouldn't want to pay that, but if it was there, you could get through it.
Yeah.
Right? So that way you're not overpaying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
It's a great way of reframing that mindset.
Yeah, it is. I never heard it kind of said like that, and it does. That makes a lot of sense.
Sure, thank you.
I always say that people are afraid of things that they don't understand. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't understand what insurance really is.
No, they don't.
So they think they need to know something before they come talk to you guys.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Are there a couple of things that you really look for them to ask you when they first sit down?
Well, there's things that we would need in order to do things the right way from a quoting standpoint and from an advisory standpoint. And that's things like, history. When I say history, driving history. Do you have any tickets? We'd have to get the driver's license number, date of birth, because they're going to run a motor vehicle records check, right?
Sure.
That kind of thing, because that determines every insurance company is a little different. And from what I mean there is when it comes to appetite, some companies, for example, are based around, if you can believe this, drivers that have tickets.
No kidding.
Their pricing structure is such that they know they can make it work with people that have some points in their license.
Sure.
Other companies are just the opposite. They want
They're
the
going
clean
to
stuff.
incentivize you for safe driving. Does that sound
100%,
familiar?
yeah. So it just depends on, and that's the beauty of, you think of, and some of the listeners out there probably work with a number of different independent insurance agents.
Yeah.
I've always thought that was a nice feature of the independent agent system is you have options, right? You can, client A doesn't meet this company, but they meet this other company, and client B fits this one. So at the end of the day, it's not a one size fits all.
Sure.
Like some of the captives,
Absolutely. And then when it comes to, our insurance agency, do we, I know there's a lot of different policies and different companies out there when it comes to, those that are looking to get quoted something as far as, do we shop around to look at other?
We do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we have a comparative rating system. We put in all the data needed to generate a quote. And based on that information, our system will tell us what the best place to be is for that particular individual or family.
Yeah.
So
that was always my gift to somebody that came in that was married or in a long-term relationship, and they'd be like, I'm looking for new insurance. I'm like, watch this. They're going to look at all these different carriers, and you can go back and tell your partner that, hey, I shopped all these different carriers for you. I did all this homework, and now I'm saving us money. So I love that about LMCU.
Well, and the nice thing, too, you think about that. No, one of my first remarks today was no one likes insurance. So imagine if you had to pick up the phone and call all these different places or inquire online or however you do it. This way, it's all there for you.
For sure.
And that's just not us. Again, that's independent agents in general, right?
In general.
So they're all out there. Typically, we all have the same rating. There's only a couple different rating softwares out there for that. So.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to that desire to really want to help our people find what they need, what's going to make the most sense, and really be that support. Again, that's one reason why we love that you're on the show is whether it's on Wallet Wisdom or you call up Ken on the phone, you're going to have that same kind of let's walk you through these things, and the team around you is just phenomenal as well, and the expertise and knowledge of the industry is huge.
Well, you think about it, it's like anything in life. It's all about, you get the right people, everything works.
That's
right?
it.
You get the wrong team and you're scratching your head going, gosh, they just don't get it, right?
Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate, I know, on our insurance end, and you guys really too with the credit union side. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of times, and you probably heard it, where we'll say to someone, hey, look, based on what you told us, the best place to be is right where you are.
Yeah.
But when something changes, and it always does, please give us a shot or think of us, right?
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for. And you'd be surprised how many people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
Timing's everything in life, right? Doesn't matter what you're doing. And if it's not right now, it might be in a year, it might be in 3 or 4 years.
And I think from a consumer standpoint, right, for my own self, is looking at it like, that tells me you're not trying to sell me something that I don't need just so that you can have my money. It tells people that this is what you've got. As much as we would love your business for right now, this is still what makes sense. And that makes people say, when the time does come, like you said, where I am looking, I'm going to come right back to you guys because the approach you gave was so different than what I've experienced in other places. So
such a great testimony to what LMCU does. I've even gone to dealerships and they're like, oh, where do you want your insurance? And I'm like, well, we're going to go through LMCU. Well, we can quote you too. And I'm like, no, I don't care what you're going to offer me. I'm going to go with LMCU, right? And you're like, you wouldn't believe how many people are willing to pay more just to have it through Lake Michigan Insurance Agency. So
that's nice to hear.
Great testimony to your teams.
Well,
great job.
thank you. And it just like, we can go back to our parents or grandparents when you're a little kid. Just do the right thing as best you can, right? If you do the right thing, it typically works out.
Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day, you think about what we're doing. We're not selling anything tangible. We're selling a promise to pay, right, if you have a claim.
That's right.
Based on the contract, the insurance contract. So we become the advocate for our clients. We have to be, right? Because they're trusting us, and we have to do the best we can. And at the end of the day, people, we're not, and that's the hard thing I sometimes have getting into the mind of some of the new producers that we bring in right out of college or they're new off the street. Their friends are selling who knows what, right? But it's something they can see, something that's tangible. Right. And just to sell this idea, hey, you're selling a promise to pay when people need it.
Yeah.
And that's
to be there in the worst of
exactly,
time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly
We've had fires. You can't. Over 30 years, some of the stories you don't. That's a whole nother program.
Yeah, okay. We'll do a
follow-up
follow-up.
next time.
So.
And I think that's such a great way to put it too. Is people aren't coming to you usually when they have to make a claim because something great happened, right? Mm-hmm. You're kind of in the business of helping people when they're in a vulnerable place.
Absolutely.
And when you as a person carrying that policy and need that claim fulfilled, and you're going through something tough, whether a really bad car accident or, God forbid, like you said, a house fire or something that needs that, you need someone that's going to come in and just treat you with the utmost kindness and just walk you through and be a compassionate partner in that process.
Right.
And that's the testament we keep hearing from all the great reviews and everything else. So kudos to your team. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So, just kind of circling back to just overall things related to auto, kind of what are those three major things that people should look at and look for on their auto policies?
Well, probably the most overlooked is the bodily injury limits. And you really want to look at bodily injury limits, when there's companies out there, unfortunately, that sell $20,000 of bodily injury limits. Well, you and I know, and the listeners know, that limit came out in 1973.
It's a Tylenol these days.
Yeah.
It's literally a Tylenol.
So you really need to sit down. So that's where I get in. So, and here's what people don't realize. So if somebody sells that policy with a $20,000 bodily injury limit, and maybe they currently have $500,000 bodily injury limit, the deductibles are the same. It's still full coverage. Mm-hmm. So if that agent, and most 99%, we all know, people are trustworthy, we hope, right? Yeah. And we feel that way anyway. But at the end of the day, if you're not asking the right questions, or maybe they didn't realize what you had and they're quoting the bare minimum on the bodily injury side, you've just given up $480,000 of protection.
Wow.
And you think you have the same coverage.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you really need to have someone that is in more of an advisory role than a peddler role.
Sure.
Sure. So that's one of the things. Deductibles are the other one. And we mentioned that a little earlier. Take what you can afford, right? Because the chance, especially if you've had fairly good luck, you don't know when the accidents are coming, right? Or tickets, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if you can afford a little higher deductible, you're keeping the money in your pocket and not the insurance company's pocket.
Sure. Yeah.
And so the other thing is, there's a number of different group programs out there, and group discounts. For example, if you're a CPA, there's a group discount. If you're a dentist, there's a group discount. If you went to a college, there's a group. There's a group discounts. You name it.
Yeah.
If you shop at Costco, there's a group discount. But at the end of the day, let your agent know, hey, I went to a 4-year university, or I am over 60 years old or over 50 in some cases. Whatever the case may be, just let them, and you almost in some cases may have to bring up, what group discounts you have available.
Sure.
And they'll tell you, and you may fit into one. And those discounts can range anywhere from as low as 3 or 4% to as high as 17 or 18.
Wow.
And if you don't ask the right question, you're never going to get that, right?
Absolutely. And just talking more about who you are and
Absolutely.
like what you're involved in different groups, because you just never know.
You don't know.
You don't know for sure. Really, really interesting. Now, when it comes to, those kind of auto and policies and like you said, just those different areas, what about, I've heard this bundle and save a message for a while, and taking like your home insurance and your auto insurance and there's ways that you might be able to save if you're bundling them, or those types of things. What is that all about?
I'll tell you, there's not a company I can think of that's not price structured to have better pricing if you bundle coverages.
Sure.
It really makes sense. The insurance companies like it because they can see both sides. Where's the exposures, right? It's better for the consumer. Usually there's anywhere, depending on the carrier, it could be as low as 7, as high as 15, savings on both ends. At the end of the day, it's very, very rare nowadays that you'll see someone have auto insurance at one company and homeowners or renters, which renters insurance is just a form of homeowners insurance.
Okay.
For those that don't know, at another carrier, it doesn't make sense.
Sure.
Right. So I 99.5% of what we do and most of our competitors out there is we bundle everything.
Sure.
It makes sense to do it that way. So
One thing I think too, a lot of people say, I don't need renter's insurance. I don't have anything valuable. What would you say to that?
A lot of people don't realize that part of the renters and part of the homeowners policy, it's not just your property that's at the physical address. It's actually liability for yourself personally. We all know that businesses have liability insurance, but a lot of people don't realize your homeowner's policy and your renter's policy is your personal liability insurance. So if you're on a trip and something happens and you're found liable and you're sued, you're covered for that kind of thing. Maybe you're skiing with your buddies in Colorado and someone gets hurt and you injure somebody and they sue you. Your homeowners or renters policy picks up defense costs and would pay any settlement that you're found liable for based on the insurance contract.
Wow!
So that covers you in the U.S. and also Puerto Rico. So
that in and of itself is worth it.
Oh yeah,
No kidding.
absolutely. So it's not just your.
It's not if it burns down.
Exactly.
Right.
You're just out of college and you have $3,000 worth of stuff, sleeping on the floor in your apartment. That's not what you're really concerned about. It's when you're out and about and something happens and you unfortunately are liable.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay that out of your pocket because chances are you're starting off going, wait a minute, I don't have anything anyway.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? I'm setting myself back further. By having that policy in place, it's going to pick up any defense costs and settlements.
I had no idea that that's something. I mean, again, I would have just assumed it's when I get into a car accident or my house, floods or whatever, or you've got different things like that. I had no idea that if I go on a vacation somewhere, I'm going to be able to know that if something, God forbid, does happen, I am covered. And
it's not an excuse to be reckless, Brett. You got to keep trying not to.
Sure. Well, somebody gets hurt at your home when you're not even there. Think about that. You're liable. I mean, we see that. We've had a handful of incidents with pools through the years. And if you can believe this, kids, and
they jump fences.
They jump fences and people are gone for the weekend and somebody gets hurt. We've only had maybe 1 or 2 drownings, but people actually get hurt screwing around with broken bones.
Sure.
And if you can believe this, the parents of these kids will then sue you, right? The homeowner. And you're going, wait a minute, I wasn't even there.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's an inherent vice is what they call it, and you're liable.
Wow.
If you you want to make sure you have your that section of the homeowner's policy at an adequate level. Yeah. And that's where you get into
know your neighbors.
Know your neighbors.
Know your neighbors. Start making more cookies for them.
Right. and that kind of brings me just in thought here to umbrella insurance.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize that the umbrella policy sits on top of your renter's policy or homeowner's policy and your auto policy. So let's say, for example, you had a homeowner's policy that had $500,000 of liability coverage.
Okay.
And you were found liable in a claim. You're responsible to pay $750,000. Well, the homeowner's policy would pay the $500,000, and then you'd have to pay $250,000 out of your pocket if you didn't have an umbrella policy. The umbrella policy sits on top, so it picks up any excess once you pierce that underlying limit. Okay. And that's both on the auto side and the homeowner side.
No kidding.
So, And of course, all you got to do is pick up the paper or look online at some of these settlements, and that's the reason that an umbrella policy, and it's something that everybody really should talk to their insurance agent about, is very, very inexpensive given the dollar limit. For example, a $1 million auto policy might be, depending on the carrier, somewhere between $300 and $500.
Sure.
Which isn't that much when you consider you're getting another $1 million on top of whatever you had on the underlying.
Top, yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's really interesting too, because when you think about getting into an accident, nowadays, I mean, to kind of what we were saying earlier, like that bodily injury, that was based off of years and years and years ago. I mean, you look at cars today. I mean, there are driving computers that are
literally
$30,000 or more. That's just if it gets totaled. But then if someone gets hurt, there's all the medical and everything else. And I mean, just getting an X-ray these days. I mean, all of those expenses, they can add up so fast. And again, as we kind of wrap up, for listeners, I know I can be this way too, thinking like, really, do I need all that? Like, I'm a decent driver, or we take care of, we don't just leave the burners on the stove. I'm not forgetful like that, and you just never know. And it's again one of those things that you don't want to just assume it's all going to be fine until that one day when you're looking at yourself and thinking, man, if I had only just paid that a little bit more, or really maybe spend a little more intentional time, looking at my policy, what it covers, and honestly having the conversation. Right now, if listeners, you've got already a policy and you've got all the details there. Maybe at least just getting a quick checkup. Like for you can, for in your team, if I'm in a policy right now and I said, hey, I'm just curious. Yeah, I could call up my agent, but I'm not. Again, it's just there. I'm not real close with that person or whatever. Can we stop into, LMIA and take a look, or give you guys a call and say, here's what I got.
Sure.
Am I doing okay?
Yeah. Here's what you got. What do you think?
That's awesome.
And at the end of the day, we're talking about this and going back to the umbrella. It's not for everybody. A younger person who's just starting out, they don't have the assets that are going to be impacted like someone who's developing things over the course of your life, right?
Yeah.
That kind of. So it depends on the circumstance, right? So you really have to look at the circumstance, and that's where go back to saying we want to be an advisor, not a peddler.
Yeah.
Right? We're just not out to sell we're there to build this. I mean, we've had some people, insured that going back to before I was there at the agency. I mean, it goes because they try. At the end of the day, you think about this. People do business with people they know and trust, and really you become friends, right?
That's right.
It's all relationship driven. And so we build that relationship by starting off as an advisor and building that trust, right?
Yeah.
And showing people, this is why you need this. Did you think about maybe you don't need this other stuff? And they go, really? I don't need that?
Yeah.
Take that off.
For sure.
That kind of thing. So
one thing, do you have to
that.
be a Lake Michigan Credit Union member to have LMIA insurance?
You do not.
Oh, yeah.
Do not.
Wonderful.
But guess
Might
what?
have known that.
But by becoming a
member.
By buying that policy,
discount?
you come in that way.
Oh,
So
there you go.
Yeah, so
there you go.
But you don't have to be. No. Matter of fact, I mean, as you can imagine, we have stuff. Actually, we insure people on the commercial side, and I know we're not talking about that, but we have people in all 50 states, and businesses in all 50 states. Stuff in California. Matter of fact, this afternoon I'll be on a call with an account I have in just outside of Los Angeles, California.
Oh,
so
see, that's
we have
amazing.
stuff all over the country.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Well, hopefully listeners, as you kind of, if you've been listening to the podcast now for a little while, you're starting to realize, this Lake Michigan Credit Union in, Michigan and parts of Florida here, they're not just, a credit union that's just going to take care of your checking and savings. Like, we have a full array of different ways that you can, engage with us, and finding out that we have options that, again, for insurance and, your typical banking commercial side of things. And there's just so many things to learn more about us. So check out our website, go to lmcu.org. You'll find all kinds of information about, the credit union, how we got started back in 1933 and where we are today, and all of the wonderful things like Michigan Insurance Agency that can support your needs. So, Ken, as always, thank you so much. You are truly just a wealth of knowledge. We will have you back to talk a little bit more, I'm sure, sometime soon. But until then, we are going to wrap up here and move into a wonderful time of trivia.
Oh, boy.
It's on, Ken.
Oh, boy.
We're going to find out if
That makes me nervous.
We're friends, but now we're enemies. So
That's
get
right.
ready.
This works.
That's right.
The old bait and switch.
So Ken, we're going to find out if you're smarter than the show today.
Oh, boy.
And we're going to find out
Make them easy.
with some fun trivia. So today we are playing for actually $100 that will be going to a nonprofit that we support. We support several nonprofits in our community all across Michigan and Florida. And if you win, you'll get to pick one of the nonprofits on that list to have that $100 go to. But on the hot seat playing with you today, Ken, is going to be the very, very talented Lo, as she knows trivia. She's
Very generous introduction.
She looks smart. She looks smart.
She was
Thank you.
literally
And I'm not even wearing my glasses today.
That's okay.
not even wearing. And when I wear my glasses, I'm even
I'm
more
a
sophisticated.
genius,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm a genius. She was almost on. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I mean, she could have been the one up there for
With Regis.
With
Way back.
Regis.
The original.
I can't confirm that actually, but anyway, the way that the show plays for listeners to know, we will be asking 3 questions. It'll be a best out of 3, and you will buzz in with your name. So if you know the answer to the question after I read it, buzz in that way. If you get it wrong, the other person has a chance to steal the point. And again, best out of 3. And if we need a tiebreaker, I've got some questions up my sleeve. So, all right, let's get into it. All right. First question. The 2020 Masters tournament was rescheduled for November for the first time in tournament history. Who ended up winning the 2020 Masters tournament?
Dustin Jansen.
That's correct.
Wait, do you share a last name even?
Well, I'm Jansen. He's Johnson.
Oh, all right.
There you go.
I wish I had his golf game.
Right.
I know.
I don't share that either.
I was happy to hear that he won. I mean, he's always right in the heat most of the time, and then he's had his few little moments where he just doesn't quite execute, but
That's right.
he held it going on. So, all right, here we go. Who was the voice of Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story?
Lauren. Low.
Oh, you forgot your name too. Johnson Jansen.
Who are
Guys,
you?
my name is really Lauren, but I'm low here. I'm so sorry.
The secret is out. No, I'm just kidding.
Buzz Lightyear
Yes,
would be Tim Allen.
that is correct.
That is correct.
For
Yes.
no extra bonus points, where is Tim Allen from?
Michigan.
Detroit.
Beautiful. There you go. Michigan's own Tim
Motor
Allen.
City.
All right, here we go, guys. You each have 1 point. This question will determine who's going to win.
Oh boy.
Are you ready? All right. Who was the drummer for the Beatles?
Ken.
Ken.
It is terrible. Oh, we got Ringo Starr.
Ringo Starr.
And do you know his real name?
In my gut.
Do you know his real name?
I don't.
No.
His real name, last name is Starkey. I know his son's name is Zach Starkey. I can't think of Ringo's first name.
No kidding.
It's not Ringo
That's
Starkey. Maybe Richard Starkey.
Okay.
That's what my
Yeah, I
gut
think
was
it's
like.
Richard.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, Ken, congratulations. You have
almost forgot that one.
successfully proven you are smarter than the show. So
Smarter
we will,
than low.
Hey, that rhymes. We will we'll get together and talk a little bit more about where that money's going to go to
All
our
right,
nonprofit.
fantastic.
And for listeners to continue to engage with us, we've got wonderful channels like our social media channels and any of our podcasting. What works for you, whether it's Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or where all of the good things happen. So feel free to engage on any of our social platforms, Twitter, social, as far as Facebook and Instagram. Also, we're on LinkedIn, so lots of great ways. In fact, we will be working on, I think, doing a little bit more of just sharing where that money is going, because I know we haven't had a chance to really post some of that, and I think that would be a really fun way to do that. So that about wraps it up for us. Wonderful show, guys.
It really was.
Yeah, thank you for
Wonderful
having me.
show.
Thank you so much.
You know,
for
you
being
mentioned
here.
earlier, good thing you put on extra deodorant. I kind of feel the same way. I get a little nervous in those questions.
Warm.
Wow.
That's right.
My palms are sweating over here.
No, that's it was a close, heated battle.
Yeah, it was. It
Close,
was.
heated battle. So, excellent. Well, thanks again for being on the show with us, Ken, and we'll see you listeners on the next one.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for listening. The information provided in this podcast by Lake Michigan Credit Union is general education or marketing in nature and is not intended to be accounting, legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Statements of individuals are their own, not LMCU's. All topics discussed are information of a general nature and do not address the circumstances of any particular individual or entity. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation. As of the date of publishing and any future date this podcast is broadcast, all rates, fees, payments, or other specific figures discussed are subject to change and are dependent upon your specific financial situation. All loan products discussed are subject to credit and collateral approval. You alone assume the sole responsibility of evaluating the merits and risks associated with the use of any information or other content in the podcast before making any decisions based on such information or other content. In exchange for listening to the podcast, you agree not to hold LMCU, its affiliates, or any third-party service providers liable for any possible claim for damages arising from any decision you make based on information or other content made available to you through the podcast. For more information on any of the content discussed in this podcast, please visit lmcu.org. Copyright Lake Michigan Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender. LMCU, NMLS ID number 442967.